What's up, everybody? This is Alex Kelly back here with another episode of the Furloughed Film Talks podcast. Here with my brother Ryan.
What's up?
We are here on a Thursday for our Friday episode. We have a very special one today for you. We are live streaming on YouTube. We do that every Monday and Thursday for our episodes. So go Furloughed or go on YouTube and subscribe to the Furloughed Film Talks channel.
You okay?
Yeah, I'm great.
Okay.
It's been a crazy week. We are excited to be here. We have a very special episode, like I said, a first timer for us. So we will review the Mauritanian movie starring Jodie Foster, as well as some other people that I was
Shailene Woodley.
Yes, her.
And Shazam.
Yes, and Zachary Levi. I was going to get to the rest of those people later, Ryan.
Sorry.
But no, we'll talk about that movie. And then we will have a interview with, this is the part that this is a first time for us. We've never interviewed an author. We've never interviewed somebody who...
We've interviewed writers. We haven't interviewed like
an author of a book. Yes.
Yeah.
Who is, and more specifically, an author of a book who's here to promote the book.
Right.
So we talked with the author of Release the Snyder Cut. Can people see that, Ryan?
Yeah, they can.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
Release the Snyder Cut. Sean O'Connell. He's also the managing director of Cinnamon Blend. So he was nice enough to join us to talk about his book, as well as the Snyder Cut, which comes out next week. Where did he say that people can find the book, Ryan?
Oh, God. Bookshop.org.
Yes, bookshop.org, which will show you where the book is at a local
independent bookstore.
Yes,
Yeah.
So go check that out.
Which, interestingly enough, the closest independent bookstore to us is in Deep Ellum.
Not surprised. Do you remember the name of it?
Like, I think it's Deep Vellum.
Deep Vellum. Yeah, I've heard of that before.
I believe there was maybe one in Bishop Arts District too. But
yeah, Dallas is pretty scant on independent bookstores.
Yeah,
because Half Price Books technically isn't independent.
Is it not?
Mm-mm.
How's it not?
I think it's so large that they don't like
Well,
count it
what's
as
like?
independent.
So I mean, technically, like Borders and Barnes and Noble are independent. They're just not like.
Yeah, I think it's supposed to be like.
If you're a national chain, then you're
Yeah.
not. That's a weird label.
It is very, very odd to have to like parse that out, but Amazon's definitely not an independent bookstore.
But they have. Never mind.
Anywho, check it out on bookshop.org. Release the Snyder Cut. It's really good background into how the Snyder Cut came to be on HBO Max next Thursday, March 18th. So we will have our interview with Sean a little bit later. I want to thank him for coming on. It was super cool to talk to him about all of that. But first, Ryan, we got to talk about, normally I wouldn't talk about something where it's just the first look at a movie, but this has been kind of blowing up lately. Plus, it has Adam Driver in it, so like,
I'm down for that.
We kind of have to talk about
I'm
it.
equal weights, like excited and not excited for this movie because like Adam Driver, yay, very excited for that. But then it's like he's paired with Lady Gaga, and I'm like, really?
Lady Gaga was good in A Star Is Born though, so like,
Never seen it.
what? You never saw A Star Is Born?
No, my girlfriend didn't drag me to the movie.
You should have seen that.
Didn't Angela make you go see
No,
that?
I wanted to go see that.
Did you?
Yeah, I was really excited for that movie.
Well,
Anywho, so the movie is called House of Gucci.
but is this a musical? Like,
Oh, God,
okay,
no.
then then there
God,
you go.
no.
Like,
Uh,
if she doesn't have like her singing to fall back on his crutch, I don't think that.
We'll see. Anywho, let's actually just talk about the movie. So, upcoming true crime drama film with co-star Adam Driver as Patrizia Reggiani and Maurizio Gucci. I'm messing up all these Italian names. Anywho, the photo in question is just of Adam Driver looking as Italian as he can with Lady Gaga as they're on the side of a mountain, and it's very white in the background.
Because of snow.
Yes. Very 80s look. But do you know, because everybody was like, oh, like, it's going to be the story of Gucci or whatever. Do you know what the story is of like what happened?
I thought this was like, I might be wrong, but I thought this was a story of like different factions of the Gucci family, like fighting each other over, like control of the company or some shit like that. Like,
Yeah.
I thought it had something to do with like kind of ties with gangs and crime and shit like that. But
Yeah. So it says is based on Sarah Gay Forden's 2001 novel, The House of Gucci, and sensational story of murder, madness, glamour, and greed that used the murder to delve into the complex yet dishy, I think they meant fishy, yet fishy family history filled with infighting, corporate intrigue, and gobs of money. Gucci, the grandson of Guccio Gucci, ran the company in a declining period in the 1980s after wrestling it out of his uncle's hands.
I think there was like a TV. I might be wrong, but it's either about Gucci or Versace. But there was a
Versace, yeah.
Was that the TV show?
Yeah, there was
like
a TV show about Versace.
It was a foreign language TV show.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I don't know. Like, we're not huge fashion people at all.
Speak for yourself.
Well, I am the one who gets Stitch Fix, so
Well,
I wear freaking hockey jerseys for all these shows, so I don't know
I'm
anything.
the one that shops at H&M for my cargo pants.
Cargo shorts are both economical and
How are they economical?
you can have more room for stuff, Ryan.
Okay, but
You can carry more stuff.
do you ever put anything in the cargo shorts?
Yes.
Cargo compartments? What
Yes.
do you put in the cargo
My
compartments?
phone. I put
Okay.
extra drinks. I put my wallet. I put other people's stuff. Cargo shorts would have been really, really clutch when I walked across the stage for graduation. So screw you, sir.
For fake graduation?
Yes,
or?
for fake graduation. We're not getting into that story, but
Okay.
no, like I'm about to like walk up to like
Uh-huh.
walk across the stage, and
Uh-huh.
all the women that were around me didn't have pockets on their dresses
Okay.
or in the like gowns.
Yeah.
And they're all just like, well, we can't leave our phones in the seats. So they all looked at me, like 6 different women looked at me and were like, can you take my phone? And I literally walked across the stage with like 7 or 8 phones in my pockets.
And a huge amount of guilt.
Yes, a lot of guilt. a lot. Anywho, I got my
Back it
degree.
up. Back
Fuck
it up,
all.
though. We back it up.
I will grab my degree and show everybody.
I will say the only acceptable time to wear cargo shorts or pants is if you're trying to transport more than like 2 beers.
Cargo shorts like come in really handy though, like at like big shows, like the Warped Tour and all that type of stuff, because
Uh-huh.
you have to have like the pockets to like latch shit in like that.
Back in the olden days.
yeah, back when we actually had Warped Tour. Jared Leto's in this movie. What? Hold on.
Wow.
Yeah, we've gotten way off topic. Anywho, this movie's supposed to come out on my birthday this year, actually.
Really?
Yeah, interesting. By Metro Goldwyn Mayer. The cast is a lot more stacked than I was expecting. Lady Gaga, Adam Driver, Al Pacino as Aldo Gucci.
Jared only's got like 5 or 10 more movies off than him.
True. Jared Leto as Paolo Gucci.
That makes sense, yeah.
And Jeremy Irons is also in it.
Really?
Yes. So it's directed by Ridley Scott.
These Italian accents are going to be god awful, dude.
Yeah, they're going to be pretty. Except for like, well, no, Pacino's is probably going to be.
I bet Drivers would be pretty good. He'll study up on it, but it's gonna be really hard for like Jeremy Irons, who's a British accent, to like.
Dude, and like Leto's.
I don't know. Irons pretty fucking good. They're all good actors.
They're all amazing actors, but like, it's kind of hard to do an Italian accent.
Except for Lady Gaga.
Yeah, we'll see.
You know what this picture looks like though?
What's that?
What does Adam Driver look like? He looks like he's cosplaying The Rock. You know,
a little bit, yeah, I can see it.
That meme where he has the.
Yes, I know what you're talking about.
Okay.
Awesome. No, this is an interesting one. I'm excited for this movie. Good talk.
Awesome,
Ryan. Fuck you, piece of shit.
I mean, it seems interesting. Yeah, I like Adam Driver. So
I love Adam Driver. I wish he would do more.
He needs to like.
He served our country.
Did he?
Yeah,
he was a Marine.
He was a Marine.
Yeah. Is this considered like an independent? Like, who's making this?
Fuck no, it's MGM.
Okay.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, I want to see him.
It's MGM with Ridley Scott. There's no way.
I want to see him do more movies. Like, what was that one with the where he's a bus driver?
Patterson.
Yeah, I love that movie.
Did we review that?
Yeah.
Did we?
I don't know.
I don't think we did.
I think we did. Pretty sure we did.
2-minute review. Go.
He's a bus driver.
Yeah, he's a bus driver and he writes poems.
In a failing poem.
And then his fucking dog tears it up. It's really a dick move.
Oh
on
my
the
god,
dog.
it's so
the dog
sad.
is like, it's really kind of funny how like they set the dog up because like there's certain parts that you like don't understand like what's kind of going on, and then they like slowly reveal that this dog's a dick, and it's just really funny. Yeah. Patterson, go check it out.
Okay, so if that dog had done that to you, would you euthanize it?
No, because when I saw it, you know what it reminded me of?
Now, let's be clear. He had a book of like all of his poems
That he had been like writing in for years.
For years and years
was, like,
and years.
The insinuation.
And he accidentally left it on the couch, and the dog tore it to shreds.
Yeah, like ripped it apart.
Yeah.
No, you know what it reminded me of, and I don't think it's up here. I can't find it right now. When I was in like 6th or 7th grade,
Okay.
I left our first edition British copy of Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban.
Yeah.
You remember that?
And Katie got a hold of it.
Katie ripped I cried. I
Was
wept
that
actual tears.
Wait, Prisoner of Azkaban, which is the third book?
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember getting that book, and we had to take turns reading it.
Mm-hmm.
And we got it
because it wasn't out in the United States.
Yeah, we got it like multiple days before.
We got it like months, I thought.
No. It was like a week.
It was like before like it came out in the United States.
Right. That was back in the day when like Amazon would release books that were being released in other countries in America.
Same day. So like
very fucking legit. And that book was so cool.
Yeah,
all the British versions of Harry Potter are so much better than the American versions.
Yeah, they're fucking great. And it's weird because like, do you see the Deathly Hallows at the very end there?
Yeah.
They would do
the paperback.
They would do adult versions and kids versions. So the only difference would be the cover.
I like the kids versions better.
Yeah, no, so do I. Because like, because like, this would always be like some real world object.
Yeah.
And so like it was like a lifelike, and then this was actual like the illustrations. And so I always like those more.
Like the waxy cover and everything.
Yeah.
How much do you think a first edition Prisoner of Azkaban is going for right now?
A couple thousand.
Are you fucking serious?
Yeah, because they auction off the like, and this is the Philosopher's Stone, so there's only like a couple hundred of the first editions in the British.
Right.
Those goes for like tens of thousands of pounds.
Yeah, this isn't a first edition, is it?
That one? Which book is that? Is that Deathly Hallows?
No, Deathly Hallows.
Yeah, that's a first edition. All of these are first editions.
I can tell.
So, lesson for everybody at home.
It doesn't like say on it, does it?
No. So you have to nope, not there. This is educational for everybody, so listen up. Okay, so in this little page where there's all that writing.
Yeah, where it shows like the copywriter thing.
Yeah, so there's usually a number. Well, this is just says first edition.
No, okay.
So, but like in the American ones, there will be like a set of numbers.
Yeah.
And normally you would read 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Mm.
This it goes backwards, so it'll say like 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. Whatever the last number is, that's what edition it is.
So if the last number is a 1, it's a first edition.
Exactly.
Okay.
So,
gotcha.
That's just one way to be able to tell. Because like I've got a bunch, and people off screen or at home who are listening to this later in the podcast. I've got a whole row of Harry Potter books. And I'd basically go to Half Price Books and try to find like the first editions of each book. And I found a couple. Like I found this at Half Price.
Take your stimmy and just buy a first edition of Philosopher's Stone.
Yeah, you know.
Wait, which first editions are you missing?
Oh, I've got first editions for all of them.
You got a first edition Philosopher's Stone?
Not British. I've got a first edition American version.
Oh, okay.
But that was like I found it at Half Price Books.
So like the paperback version?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So not as much, but like it's probably still worth a little bit if people knew what they had. Plus, it's in pretty shit condition.
Did you ever read My Name Is Asher Lev in high school?
No.
He's like a Jewish Hasidic Jew, become an artist, and my God,
what's that?
What?
We're just bullshitting at this point.
Yeah, no. So I read it in high school. I just picked it up and like I just finished My Name. So it's My Name Is Asher Lev, where it's from like his childhood, and he like grows up as an artist, but they live in like a super conservative, like ultra orthodox Jewish community in New York, and so like his dad does not want him to be an artist. He thinks it's like from the devil, basically.
Interesting.
But the rabbi, who's like the leader of the community, is like, no. Like, we think it's a gift, so we're gonna let you be an artist. And it goes all the way, so he like through his teens, and he's like trained by one of the most famous Jewish artists in the world. And then it goes up into where he's like in college or something, or like just out of college, and it ends by him painting what he calls Brooklyn crucifixions. And
Jesus,
he paints 2 of them, and it's basically a painting of his mother, like on a crucifixion in their living room. They used is like this a like recurring theme was she would stand in the window and like wait for her husband to come back because he would travel around the world for the rabbi. And she would like stand in the window waiting for him to get back. And so he painted her on the window, and the window was like a crucifix. And then like Asher Lev and his father was like standing on either side of them. But when this premiered at the art show, the rabbi basically like exiled him from the community. And was like, you need to go live in Paris because like people are so mad at you.
Wow.
And that's how the first book ends.
Interesting. They let y'all read this in high school?
Yeah.
Good Lord. All right, then. Cool.
Anyways, you think that'd be a good movie?
How's it, Gucci?
Huh?
Or what you were just saying?
Yeah, that's what I was just explaining.
Yes, if somebody could do that, I think somebody like in a low budget, not low budget, but like independent film could definitely do something really, really good with that.
I think I'm going to make my first little like project and try to adapt it into a screenplay.
Do it.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Fucker.
Anyways, House of Gucci is going to be released on November 24th, 2021. So we will cover that when we get a little bit closer to
It's when you're turning 30, right?
No, that's when I turn 20.
Something.
Yeah. Anywho, Ryan,
22.
We saw a movie last night. This is a rare occurrence for us called The Mauritanian.
We're actually going to have a lot of movies to see in the next like 2 months.
Yes,
in theaters.
we've got quite a bit to go see. This is starring Jodie Foster as well as Benedict Cumberbatch, Humbersnatch.
Aaron Rodgers' wife.
Yes, Shailene Woodley. Are they married now? Is that a fish?
No, they're engaged.
They're engaged. Okay, it's his fiance.
Yeah.
We should call Aaron Rodgers Shailene Woodley's fiance.
Husband.
Yes.
Boyfriend.
Husband to be. Let's be politically correct, Ryan.
Okay.
Shailene Woodley, badass. Tahar Rahim, Zachary Levi. Very interesting movie. Ryan is very much of a stickler now on giving what the premise of the movie is.
This is a quick second to say what's up to Vinny.
What's up, Benny? This is an off the rails episode. We're having fun with this one.
No, this. It's always better when we like spitball it and aren't like
just like
fucking tied to a. Yeah, let's
real fast before we get to the Mauritanian. I have not heard anything back from the Britannia in New Orleans.
The what?
The theater.
Oh, okay.
We're just gonna show up and do it right outside their fucking theater.
No, wait. Did you find someone's email or just like send it to a random like
I sent it to
general info?
Their general info. Like, so I probably should call them and be like, hey.
Yeah, you call them, talk to the manager.
I'll call them tomorrow. I'll have an update Monday.
I think it'd be better if we just like it'd be way better if we had T-shirts and business cards and shit to hand out, and we could do it like on Jackson Square, or not Jackson Square. Jackson Square.
I mean, we have business cards.
You know, like how would we do that though? We're just doing the fucking hotel room, dude.
That's probably what's gonna end up happening.
Or you could call it the guy.
No, I'm gonna call him tomorrow.
Even if we did that, we'd have to like take. I mean, I guess we could just take this shit.
Yeah, we have to take this anyway.
But would they have? I mean, they'd have to have Wi-Fi.
No, I can just use my phone. I've got my hotspot.
We're not gonna fucking run a
we'd
video
be
stream.
It'd be fine.
It literally won't work, Alex.
It's good. It'll be fine.
No, it's not. Like it literally.
That'd be really bad.
I mean, we could do it. We could like. You can do live streams on your phone. Just I think it'd be really bad quality.
Yeah, the sound quality would be pretty ass.
I mean, if we had it like right in front of us, it'd be okay.
We'll see. Worst comes to worst, we'll just do it in the hotel room.
Yeah. So I guess we're taking the computer and the setup.
Yes.
Okay.
Cool. Good talk. Anywho, The Mauritanian.
Right.
Starring Jodie Foster. She won a Golden Globe for this.
She did.
Best Supporting Actress somehow.
Calm down.
Sounds
like you're talking at 1.5 speed.
Yeah. Based on Guantanamo Diary by Mohamedou Ould Sahali, starring Jodie Foster, Tahar Rahim, Shailene Woodley, Benedict Cumberbatch, Zachary Levi. Don't ask. Ryan, what is this movie all about? And then we will kind of dive into the deeper parts of it, of how and what we thought of it, because this is an intriguing one.
Yeah, this is interesting. Okay, so the premise, as Wikipedia puts it here, the film follows Mohamedou Ould Salahi, who is captured by the U.S. government and is languishing in Guantanamo Bay detention camp without charge or trial. Losing all hope, Salahi finds allies in defense attorney Nancy Hollander and her associate Terry Duncan. Together, they face countless obstacles in a desperate pursuit for justice. Their controversial advocacy, along with fabricated evidence uncovered by formidable military prosecutor Lieutenant Colonel Stuart Cumberbatch, eventually reveals a shocking and far-reaching conspiracy. It's a horrible premise. It's not. I mean, about 50% of that's true, in my opinion.
Of what happens in the movie?
Yes.
Okay, so let's talk through that real fast. Of why you have a problem. Finds out.
Right? Like, I mean, I get this is like what they're
okay,
using to sell the movie.
So, like, the part where it says losing all hope, Salahi finds allies in defense attorney Nancy Hollander. That very much misconstrues how they get involved, because it's not like, because that makes it sound like he found them,
right?
when in reality it was she gets tipped off basically by somebody else who doesn't want to deal with the case anymore,
right?
And then she gets on the case and then starts meeting with them. But the part where they say together they face countless obstacles in a desperate pursuit for justice, that definitely does happen. Like, there is a lot of this where it's very much about the way that the government didn't really want them to know what was happening in Guantanamo.
Mm-hmm.
And it was only until certain people kind of stepped in, or, basically the U.S. government had to be like, okay, we can't keep doing this shit. We can't keep hiding this. Like, they have to go through the same process as any other person in an American justice court or American court system.
That's not really what happened. Like, the U.S. government said, we believe, like, to bring it all the way back, like, the U.S. government just didn't, like, wantonly pick up people and, like, send them to Guantanamo, right? The U.S. government, like, legitimately believed that he was one of the main organizers of the 9/11 attacks, and they believed he was one of Al-Qaeda's main recruiters to bring in people to be hijackers for the 9/11 attacks, right?
Which is true, yes. But
And
they believe that.
But let me finish. Like, because they believed he was one of the main organizers, they wanted to seek the death penalty for him.
Yeah.
And that's why they eventually put him on, or were trying to put him on trial for the 9/11 attacks to eventually get the death penalty.
Problem being, though, they did not have enough facts to get him into a courtroom to then convict him of the 9/11, or of being one of the organizers of 9/11.
Well, they didn't have enough evidence that wasn't, like, obtained through or under duress, right?
Yeah, so like even before that, though, like, the only information that they had was like circumstantial and was like kind of hearsay or he said, she said type thing, where it's like just by association, and they couldn't get any more information to prove that he was the organizer without sending him to Guantanamo, because they couldn't just keep him in like custody in Afghanistan or Jordan or any of these other countries without actually bringing some charge towards him. So like they took him to Guantanamo, and then
they took him to Guantanamo to torture him. Like, let's be clear. They held him at other black sites throughout Europe, and then they took him to Guantanamo so the FBI can interrogate him. And when the FBI didn't work out, then the military took over and they tortured him and eventually got the confession out of him.
Which was a load of horseshit.
Was it though? Because they never...
Let's go straight off.
Hold on. They never definitively proved that his confession wasn't legitimate. The only thing they could prove was that confession was given under duress. and B, they never proved that like he wasn't involved whatsoever. The only thing they proved was that they didn't have enough evidence to charge him and convict him of it. Right.
The problem being, though, and this is the biggest problem, it's not up to him to prove that he wasn't a part of it. It's up to them to prove that he was, and they never did that. It's not up to him to say, like, he can say all the live long day, I'm not part of this. And it's up to the fucking justice system to give evidence and find evidence that was not gotten under duress or having to use some of the most fucked up torture, methods in our fucking existence. And we'll get to that part later because that's part of like the actual movie we need to talk about.
Okay, you're 100%.
This is just the story overall.
You're 100% accurate in saying that the U.S. government, like, wasn't up to him to prove his innocence. It's up to the U.S. government to prove his guilt, right?
Yeah, in a court of law.
Exactly, but in the movie,
I agree with you there. Like,
if you're going to drive an emotional connection with a character that has been charged with one of the gravest terrorist attacks in world history, if you're going to, construct this entire movie so the audience has an emotional connection with this character, I think it is incumbent upon you to definitively prove as much as you can that he had nothing to do with what they were charging, what they accused him of. Because let's run down the list.
I agree with you there, and I think that's one of the biggest reasons this movie fails.
Right, and let's run down the evidence that they 100% did have. Right,
there's two things for sure. So
that
I can think of. Sorry.
I mean, there's like 3 or 4, but which some of them are combined. But he 100% traveled to Al-Qaeda or traveled to Afghanistan twice.
Okay, so 3, yeah.
To train with Al-Qaeda.
Mm-hmm.
It's undoubtedly a fact that he did join Al-Qaeda for training on 2 separate occasions in the early 90s.
He then supposedly left and had no association with them after that. Believe that with what you will.
Which sounds like bullshit, because the second piece of undisputable fact is that he did receive a phone call from Osama bin Laden's satellite phone.
Yeah, sat-nav.
He claims that it was one of his cousin on the line and not Osama bin Laden.
And then after that, he got a transfer of $5,000, and what he said that was for his cousin's dad's hospital bills. So his uncle's hospital bills needed to be paid. He needed some surgery or something.
Right. And back in Mauritania.
Yeah, and that's what that was for, which is a thing that we had kind of a contentious talk about last night.
Yeah, so let's follow the bouncing. And finally, the I guess third major thing for me is that his cousin was either was one of the hijackers or was literally one of Osama bin Laden's right-hand men.
Yeah, he was right there by Osama.
In Al-Qaeda, right? So if you follow the bouncing ball, right? He trained with Al-Qaeda. He traveled to Afghanistan and was in close connection with Al-Qaeda. He receives phone calls or a phone call from Osama bin Laden's phone at the exact time that hijackers were being recruited in Hamburg, Germany, the so-called Hamburg cell. He receives a wire transfer from his cousin, from what you can basically say Al-Qaeda for $5,000, but he just without evidence claims that was for his uncle's surgery or what have you. If you're looking at that in 2002, that is as
that's so good,
close to the slam dunk as you can get to saying this guy probably had something to do with the attacks. Right.
Yeah, but that's the point. And this is where I got a little bit contentious with you and me was, it's then upon the U.S. government to either investigate what he is saying, to track down and run down what his story was, or even and this movie doesn't go into his lawyers doing that, because his lawyers in this movie are not trying to fight his, criminal case because no charges have been brought. So there's no
Right.
charges.
All they're trying to fight is the writ of habeas corpus
The
in order
habeas-
to get him released since he hasn't been charged with anything.
Yeah, and that's the point. Is like, if his lawyers were trying to like defend a prosecution against him, then it would have been upon them to like go and find out, okay, what hospital was it at? Was it this hospital? Was there an
Right.
actual uncle? Did the uncle have a surgery? Was there $5,000 that was paid to this hospital? And that's one of those things where it becomes very quickly, very, very easily, confirmable if that money was paid or not.
I don't think that's like
From maybe or maybe not, but like you can at least run down those facts and you can find that kind of shit out. Our government just wasn't like even interested in doing that. They sent him to Guantanamo and we're like, yeah, we're just going to torture the shit out of him.
Yeah, I mean, but like it is up to them. But if it's 2002, like you're under very legitimate threat of another 9/11 attack.
Yeah,
right?
but that's like when that's what the number one time that you have to stick to your laws and how you function as a society, and like you can't do what we did. You can't just like throw out
So
your
again,
principles.
3 major points here. A, the FBI investigators like rightly probably believe that it was absolute bullshit that he's just giving them random answers.
Yeah.
B, like I have a hard time believing it's going to be a simple task of tracking down hospital payments in Mauritania, where like probably most transactions are cash only.
You were able to like track down the fact that like he had this wire transfer to him pretty damn quickly.
Okay, but understand, dude. Like they wire transferred through the Swiss system to him in Germany. He then took that money to Mauritania to pay a hospital bill. Do you really think in the 1990s, like Mauritania was taking Amex and it was easily?
No, I don't think it was like. I think there would be records though of that uncle having a surgery around the time that, like, at the very minimum, around the time that he got that wire transfer to show you,
like, unless you can show unless you can show that definitively it was him that made the payment, then you can't prove that he used that money for.
But does that then, should we go down that road instead of sexually assaulting people during torture?
So I'm not saying like one or the other is.
One is
like
a whole lot easier and a whole lot more humane than the other.
I'm not saying like they're mutually exclusive. What I'm saying is like, if you're in that role, if you're an FBI investigator and you have someone sitting in Guantanamo Bay and they feed you the line that, hey, I paid for my uncle's surgery in Mauritania, like you're not going to take that as credible, right?
But
and again,
here's the problem,
then
though,
let me get to my last point real fast, right? The last point is you're absolutely correct. If you're trying to lead to a legal, just conviction, yes, you track it down, you try to figure it out. That's not the goal of the FBI investigators in 2002. Their goal is to find every single thread of the 9/11 conspiracy in order to prevent future attacks, right?
At any cost possible.
At any cost. So they're, again, if you're in that role and someone feeds you the line that, like, I paid for my uncle's surgery, you're not going to be inclined. I mean, you know how much bullshit they were.
Oh, I know they get fed bullshit all the time, but like, I guess my point really is we absolutely lost our humanity in the like follow-up of 9/11. And we had a government and we had officials at the very, very tippy top that basically let them run free and do whatever the fuck that they wanted. And it led to situations like this where we had people basically just shipped to black sites where they could do whatever the fuck they wanted to them.
Yeah.
And in that, environment where it was like anything goes, like that's a horrible, like, confluence of circumstances that led to what you see in this movie. And I'm just saying, like, I'm sorry, like, if the sole, purpose of them being there or to arrest these people was to charge them and convict them with the crimes that we thought that they did,
Yeah.
we fucked up so bad because we knowingly used techniques and methods that we knew weren't going to hold up.
Right. I mean,
and that's maybe like, and I get like what you're saying, but like I just don't understand that at all. Like,
because when they took them to Guantanamo Bay, no one was thinking we're going to charge these people, right? Like
we're
that
going
is
to convict them or what? Like,
no. That is something that came up like several years later, where the Bush administration said, "Hey, I want to start charging and convicting these people." They took them to Guantanamo for them to rot there for the rest of their lives. It was never in anyone's thought.
That's as un-American as you can get. Like that is the most un-American thing that you can do, where you basically just arrest people and do not give them their day in court. And that's one of the things that like the American way of life is built upon. And even if you are not an American, you get your day in court here in America.
So let's just say hypothetically, like we don't have to, like we have no idea if this is the case or not, right? Let's just say hypothetically, they, without doing what they did in Guantanamo Bay in say sometime in 2004, there's a nuclear attack in Boston and 3 million people die.
We had one of those 9 years later, but I'm joking.
But let's just say it, right? Like 3 million.
How many?
People,
3 million people died.
Like a legit nuclear attack in Boston, done by Al Qaeda. They smuggled weapons out of Pakistan, were able to get into Boston, and that happened. Let's say that was on the cards. 100% that was on the cards. This is just hypothetical. Would it be justified to do what they did in Guantanamo Bay to prevent that type of thing from happening?
Still no, because nobody got fucking charged. Nobody got charged.
Don't even think about the legal system whatsoever.
No. And that's what you have to think about. Like you have to think about the other side of it of would there actually be results from it to show that what we were doing was effective, other than like a hypothetical situation where like people.
No, that's what I'm saying though.
But like it's not. Like,
if intel from Guantanamo Bay you can say directly because of A, B happened, because we tortured people in Guantanamo Bay, we stopped a horrific like attack that was worse than 9/11.
No, still no.
Okay.
Do you think that it's okay to torture
I don't know.
people?
I don't know.
I don't think it is. Like, I legitimately just don't think it's okay. And it's one of those things, and let's get into this. Like, I don't think it is because of the way that they paint, and this is 100%, the way that they painted it in this movie was some of the worst stuff that I've seen in a really long while. And it makes you sick to your stomach to watch it. And, like, most of the stuff, like, the playing loud music, and the sleep deprivation portions of it, like, okay, I've seen that in other movies where they tackle like the Iraq War, but like the sexual assault stuff that they show is horrific, and it is you cannot just like.
I would I would say like the sleep deprivation and like stress positions were worse than the sexual assault stuff,
but not in the context of their religion.
I mean. I don't know. It's all horrific.
It's all really bad. Yeah.
I don't think you can really.
But like that is like the part of the movie that sticks out the most to me because like it goes on for fucking ever.
It's a long portion.
Yeah. And like it's one of those things where if you know that this is the movie that you're gonna go see, like you know that scene's coming at some point. And so it was just like kind of waiting for that moment. And they did not hold back.
No.
Not at all. Like
yeah, I mean, so, like, this movie just, I didn't think did a good job of justifying the emotional connection it led the audience to have with Mohamedou, right?
No, I'd agree.
I think to an extent, what we did to him was justified. I think we definitely crossed a line when the military took over and they initiated the advanced interrogation methods, right? Like they definitely crossed the line there. But just by detaining him, taking him to Guantanamo and interrogating him without the torture methods, I think that would be 100%.
I think but that's the other thing. Like when you look into his background, like he'd been interrogated multiple times by like multiple governments. So,
Justifiably, if you travel
Yeah,
to
like,
Afghanistan,
and I agree with that. I'm
like-
not disagreeing with you with that. I'm just saying, like, up to the point of torturing, and then here's the other part that we haven't said. They had him in fucking custody for 16 years.
yeah,
I'm sorry. If you can't bring anything against somebody after a couple of years, you're probably fucking wrong. Like, you're probably not doing what you need to do in that situation. Like, 16
again,
years.
you're bogged down way too much in the like. This has to lead to a legal conviction.
It at minimum has to lead to a charge of some sort.
It doesn't though.
Yes, it does.
Like in a perfect world, in a justified world, yes, it does. But in a world where the military can do whatever the fuck they want in Cuba,
And they shouldn't.
but
They
it's-
shouldn't be allowed to do whatever they want in Cuba. We should never have just an area where people can get away with whatever the fuck they want to get away with in a country that is not our own. We should not have been able to do that. That is the biggest problem here. Like, end of story. It should never happen where we are in other countries holding other countries' people in basically perpetuity.
Mhm.
Like, 16 years is an insane amount of time. And that's not even going into the fact that he was supposed to be released in 2010. For 6
okay.
extra years, he should have gone home. Like,
Say okay.
and that's where it's like, it's not just the Republicans' fault type thing. It's both. Like, it was both Bush and Obama keeping this guy in
Yeah.
Guantanamo.
I think you're wrong at that point. I think you're 100% wrong.
Then we can disagree. But
Because like if you're just looking at the normal American legal system, yeah, you can't just fucking hold people without charge. If you're looking at this guy as a prisoner of war, and if you let him go, he's going to go back. Like, just say we totally believe that he's an organizer of 9/11. If we let him go, he goes immediately back to organizing plots for Al Qaeda. Like, yeah, I think you're 100% justified in holding prisoners of war in perpetuity.
You had way more evidence that he was actually a part of 9/11, other than he trained with them over a decade ago, and he got one call from a sat-nav phone, and his cousin was a part of it, and actually had photos and intel that he was there with all of those people. Then yeah, cool. But like, we didn't have any of that info on this guy. Like, that's where this just becomes one of those things where, like, we just held him to hold him. Like, we held him in Guantanamo to kind of show our might. And then we basically told the guy that we were going to bring his fucking mother over.
Yeah, I mean,
and have like soldiers rape his mom.
I agree that that's where like we crossed the line. But I think with what we had on him, we had enough to call him an active combatant against the United States government. And I think
I disagree, because like, he had not been in Al Qaeda. He had moved to, and this is where it gets tricky, and this is not included in the movie. They had him in Canada, and he'd been in, I think, Montreal, and they didn't really know what he was doing there. And then he went back to Germany, and I think back to Mauritania after that, and that's when he was picked up. So like, there's just so much about this like guy's background that you don't fucking know, that like, you can't just fill in holes and like expect torture to get the answers out of him. Like,
right.
Like, you cannot expect torture to get, solid facts out of somebody. They're going to tell you whatever the fuck you want to hear. Like,
Right.
That's the biggest problem of all
But
this. whole thing.
on the flip side, I don't think you can expect an American audience to look at a guy who trained with Al Qaeda, whose cousin was a right-hand man of Osama bin Laden, like A, B, C, D, and E all the way down the list. I don't think you can expect an American audience to look at all this and be like, oh, no, you know what? We got it totally wrong. Like, fucking let him go. Now he wants a visa to get back into America. Because the end of this movie is like, hey.
Wait, he was trying to get a visa?
Yeah, he was trying to get a visa because his wife is fucking American. Like,
Oh, yeah, his wife is a lawyer.
they painted this guy as like the most charismatic and funniest fucking great guy.
And that's the
like,
problem. That's the biggest problem with. And let's just get back to the movie portion of this. That's the biggest problem with the movie is.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
There
right?
could have been parts that you could have painted where it was like, hey, this is what the American government had against you. Show why that's not true. It is up to y'all to show, like, okay, hey, like, supposedly you had like guys coming and staying with you. Like, what actually happened? Show that. The parts that they went back into his past were like him on the beach and him like watching a soccer game with some buddies in Germany.
Oh yeah, or him with some honey in Germany.
Like, and maybe they just understood that like if they actually showed that, it would probably be a little bit more incriminating than like not showing it.
One of the flashback scenes they did show was like his group of friends in Germany
the soccer game.
Were talking about jihad,
which like I'm completely talking out of my ass.
Like, and that's the thing. He literally was from the fucking city in Germany where most of the hijackers were recruited from. Right? It was the Hamburg cell. Like, this was so fucking mind-boggling. It's like, how do you choose to make a movie about this guy? It was like, yes.
Because we suspended, like, what is supposed to be one of the core tenets of our, like, country.
Of civil,
and, like,
the civil legal system,
and
not
this guy,
our
like,
military legal system.
Fucking won. Like, this guy won against the government and convinced the judge that, like, hey, I'm kind of being held here against my will. And like we did that. Like we did that and our government did that to people. So, like,
yeah, but
that's why.
Like literally, if we hadn't tortured him, that wouldn't have happened. The only reason he got out is because his confession was under duress. And so that's when the judge said, oh yeah, yeah. Like that's my biggest problem with this movie, right? This guy gets out, is back in Mauritania. The whole movie is basically constructed for you to feel bad for this guy because of what he went through. But at no point do you really know for sure that he didn't organize 9/11. You don't fucking know. Like,
it's heavily implied that he did not. But like, yeah, there's nothing that definitively
says one way or the other.
But and the other aspect of this that like all of the performances in it are pretty average to say the least. Like,
yeah,
Cumberbatch is really kind of meh. Zachary Levi plays this like douchey military guy. It's all they've all have like these kind of weird Southern accents. Like, it's very much just kind of your average political thriller movie.
Yeah,
with basically 10 to 15 minutes of like torture scenes. I was not as impressed as I thought, like going into it, but it is a very meaty subject to talk about because we are still wrestling with the Iraq War 20 years on, like with no end in sight. So
right,
I don't know, man.
I don't know. It felt like me, like I don't want to say like an irresponsible movie to make, but it does feel like a very wishy-washy tone to take with what happened in Guantanamo, right? The only reason this got made into a movie is because this guy wrote a book when he got out of Guantanamo.
Which they've definitely tried to like sprinkle in there. He's like, you should be a writer. And it's like,
right. And
why the fuck are you saying that? Like the entire time they kept saying it in the movie. I'm like, why do they keep saying that? And then it's like at the end, he's like, he released a book. And I was like, oh, okay. Like they were just trying to be like cute and include this type of shit in there.
So he wrote a book when he was released about his experiences in Guantanamo.
Yeah.
This gets turned into a screenplay and is made into a movie. You want to make a movie about the moral and ethical, like, conundrums surrounding Guantanamo Bay and CIA black sites. Be my fucking guest. Like that is absolutely a subject we need to talk about and has been, I think, fairly hashed out in a few movies so far.
I'm not. This is not combative. What movies?
0 Dark 30 for sure.
That's the first one that I was going to think of.
Yeah.
The Report, kind of.
The Report for sure, but that was more like Iraq. It wasn't really Guantanamo.
Yeah, it wasn't Guantanamo, but it was like basically the same techniques.
There's been Homeland has definitely delved into it.
I've never watched that. but
So
yeah.
like, there's a lot out there. Like again, if you want to make something about Guantanamo Bay, and
I legitimately, and that's why I think this movie's kind of important. Is like I think there does need to be more of a conversation about like what the actual fuck happened down there.
100%, but don't
Like-
make it about the fucking guy who.
No, I
like,
agree. But like at some point, you do kind of need to include that in the story, where it's like, did we hold innocent people down there, and did we torture innocent people down there with no like
There's-
system?
out of the thousands of people we've held at Guantanamo Bay, there has to be someone else
No,
that we've held there.
773.
That's how much you can hold at one time.
Is it at one time or was it?
One time.
I thought that
Yeah.
was in everybody.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, at any given time, they can have 700 people down there. That place has been open for a while, so it's been far more than 700. Like, there has to be someone who is like clear cut innocent that they could have made this movie about.
Oh, I see. What you mean.
Not someone
When
who's
it
like,
says at the end of the movie that like they only charged 7 people, or they only convicted 7 people.
yeah, and that's why like
four got off of that. 4 got off on appeal.
that's my point. Like, this place isn't for holding people pre-trial. This is a fucking
Which makes me
hole in
kinda
the ground where people disappear.
Which makes me surprised that like the only movies that really focuses on it is a fucking Harold and Kumar movie.
Right. Yeah.
Like that, I'm joking, but like that's the only movie that's really fucking like really focused on it, other than movies where they've talked about the Iraq War and they kind of touch on what happened down there at Gitmo.
Mhm.
Like it does need to be talked about a whole lot more than it has been, because I think some really fucked up things happened down there, and we
Yeah.
do not know to what a certain extent like what really happened, and probably for a reason. Like the NSA is probably tapping our shit right now and being like, "What the fuck are you guys saying about Gitmo?
Yeah,
We're
we're
gonna
not happy.
We're gonna get a little call in the morning." No, it's. Do you want to talk about Jodie Foster's Golden Globes win?
Just a little bit.
Because
Okay,
it feels weird that she won.
what category did she win for?
Best Supporting Actress.
She was not the fucking supporting actress in
not
this
even
movie.
a little.
She was the lead actress of this film.
Yeah,
The Golden Globes is complete horseshit.
yeah,
Like,
it's pretty fucking bad.
they are all over the place.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, there's no fucking way she went. Like, she did not deserve to win Best Actress for this.
There's some people who are saying she might not even get nominated for Best Supporting Actress at the Oscars. Like, not even
How? There is no other lead actress in this fucking movie. I do not understand how she could
I think what they did was like, because The Father, that movie with Anthony Hopkins,
Yeah.
Olivia Colman got nominated for Best Supporting Actress for that. Sorry. I thought I had to sneeze.
Are they saying like there's one lead and it's only male or female and everyone else is supporting?
I think so. So I think in like The Father, they're saying Anthony Hopkins was the lead,
Mhm.
and then she's the Best Supporting Actress. So she's the supporting to his lead. So in this, the Mauritanian, they're saying the guy who plays is Mohamedou. Where'd it go? Tahar Rahim, which like even that's bullshit, because like on it's so weird. On the side thing for the Wikipedia, it says starring Jodie Foster, Tahar Rahim, and then in the actual cast listing it says Tahar Rahim as Mohamedou, and then Jodie Foster as Nancy Hollander.
Yeah, I mean, I would argue that if they're gonna do it that way, she's the lead actress and everyone else is supporting.
And the poster has her above him. So
Yeah, I mean that's
they 100% put her in a category where she could fucking win, and then like gave her the win. So
right. Yeah.
No, like it's a pretty by the numbers political thriller movie, legal
Right.
thriller type of thing.
There were some like really, really interesting parts of it. Just
The gift shop.
gift shop in Guantanamo Bay, which we need T-shirts from.
No, we don't.
Yeah, I mean, and I think like as Americans who like lived through 9/11, we definitely have a very different take on this kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
right. If you're, if you're French watching this movie, you're not going to have like an emotional, division between wanting to hate this fucking guy because he potentially had something to do with 9/11.
I think you kind of do though, because like wasn't there a French bombing? And
Okay.
I have a point, but like yes or no?
I mean, they had the like Charlie Hebdo attacks.
Yeah, but there was a bombing of some sort in France. I don't remember. But like what my point is, like this type of violence from Al Qaeda, from ISIS happened a lot in Europe as well. So like they probably saw it a lot as well and could connect with like what happened here. And
I'm just saying, like as an American,
American, I get, yeah,
American attack, and as our American government who's doing these things, right? Like
true, yes, yeah.
So
it's just, I don't know, man.
Anyways,
it's one of those things that we all have to reckon with. This is what our government did, and this is some of the shit that can happen. But I think that's why I fight against it so hard, because like we can't lose our humanity like that again. Moving forward, we got to be better than what we've done in the past. So, what would you give it? Max Jindo head rating as he sleeps on the floor.
3.25.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
Okay.
So,
not great, not
awful, very middle of the road. Deserves a couple of accolades, but not anything crazy. Not anything that like the trailer promised. So
no, for sure. So want to answer some questions?
Let's do it.
Okay. What do we think about Johnny Depp and Forrest Whitaker's movie finally coming out called City of Lies about a detective who's investigating the case of Tupac?
I have heard, and I know there's a trailer out for it. So this is a movie that they put out a trailer for it back in 2018, 2019.
Okay.
And it's been delayed a couple different times. And it's now finally coming out. I'm just hoping that what's his face, Johnny Depp, gets some, vindication, or I just hope it's a good movie for his sake. He's going to need to start to stack up some really good movies to kind of get back his name.
He actually has to be cast. I mean,
but that's my point. If he just has dud after dud after dud of movies that he's already made, he's not going to keep getting roles in the future. With everything that's going on in the press, so he has to have movies that he's already filmed that do pretty damn well.
Right.
So I hope for his sake that that's what happens here. But it sounds very interesting. I also hope it's better than The Little Things, but that's just me. So
cool. Have we seen Coming to America?
We have not,
and
probably not going to see that for a little while.
It comes out in May.
It's already out.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm almost positive. Because somebody I know.
I thought like screeners were out, but I don't think.
This says release date December 18th, 2020. That's not true. March 5th, 2021.
Oh, so it is
last week. Yeah.
Oh, I mean, I really don't have any.
I mean, I think it's gonna be something that we need to see sooner. I think we can wait, but we've got other, like we've got Ma Rainey that's on our list, Five Bloods, which is on our list, and One Night in Miami. Those are all, and Soul.
Okay.
Those all four.
Yeah.
And Wolfwalkers I want to see as well. So.
Okay. Last one. Are we going to talk about Snyder Cut when it comes out? So.
No.
Yeah. Right. 100%.
I'm fucking with you, Vinny.
If you listen to the podcast version of this episode, we have an interview with Sean O'Connell, who did a deep dive into the behind the scenes of the making of the Snyder Cut. So go listen to that on iTunes, Spotify, or whatever.
Yeah.
Because that interview is super interesting. And we'll talk about the Snyder Cut a week from Monday.
Yes. So that's okay. I waffle on a lot of stuff sometimes.
Okay.
Just because that's who I am. I tend to overthink things from time to time. But this has definitely been one of those where I'd been kind of bitching about the 4-hour runtime.
Yeah.
And I had always, before I read this, so promo for this real fast, released the Snyder Cut by Sean O'Connell. I had always thought that the Snyder Cut was not going to be a ton more footage. I didn't realize that basically the cut of the movie that we saw back in 2017 was only 10% Snyder footage. They recast or reshot.
They reshot, like Josh Whedon reshot the whole fucking movie
in like 7 months.
Yeah,
Like he basically like tore it down to the studs and like redid the whole damn thing. And that, when I read that in here, that was what made me really excited to watch the movie, because then it's like, oh my God, this is not just a new version of this movie. It's an extra large, extra size, big gulp version.
I'd like to know
Justice League.
I'd like to know what percentage of Josh Whedon's reshoots are in the Snyder Cut. 0%. So yeah, this is literally a completely different movie.
He said that he was going to leave, like, because somebody asked him, I don't think it might have been in this book as well, or something else that I was reading. I think somebody asked him, he was like, how much of like Joss Whedon's movie is going to be in this? Or how much of the original is going to be in this? He's like, none. I didn't include any of it in.
That's badass.
That's fucking awesome. It's that kind of quotes where it's gotten me a lot more excited for this, where I was like initially just kind of like, oh, like this is kind of a cool little thing. That's why the more that I've read, it's gotten me excited. And the last couple shows now, I've been saying that I think it's inevitable that they do a sequel to Justice League.
Mm-hmm.
And you're already seeing the undercurrents of people saying there needs to be a sequel to this to give Zack Snyder a shot at a Justice League 2. I'll say it right now. They're going to fucking do it. Like, it's going to happen. Because people are going to freak out and they're going to pressure Warner Brothers into doing it.
We'll see.
So that's my hot take.
I really do want to. We should just wake up like 6 a.m. Friday and watch it.
I'm down.
Okay.
No, it's Thursday. It comes out Thursday.
Oh fuck! Let's watch with Ben. Invite him over to our hotel room.
That won't be weird at all.
Yeah.
Like, hey, come over to our hotel room at the Hilton.
Okay. Final question.
Yeah.
What are our thoughts on Ray Fisher getting written out of the Flash movie because of his comments towards WB and Josh Whedon?
I think he's going to be put back in at some point.
Yeah, I don't see that sticking.
Because they're already. We didn't talk about it today. Kiersey Clemens, I think that's how you say her name. She played Iris West in scenes that were cut from the original Justice League as Iris West. Those scenes have now since been put back into the Snyder Cut. She has now been cast as a lead in the Flash movie that is going to be coming out in a year. So like they're already putting people back in that have been cut from the movie. Mm-hmm. I would not be surprised if they're basically forced to put him back in. Now, that's the film side of it. That's the Warner Brothers side of it. Does Ray Fisher want to come back and work with them without major, realignment of the movie side?
Mm-hmm.
Probably not. And then would Warner Brothers even be willing to make those changes? Probably not. So like there's some shaking.
But what changes would he want made?
He'd want some people fired.
Like some executives?
He'd probably want Johns out. He'd probably want
dude, if he's gonna make those demands, he has no business
I know
actually being in the movie. So
yeah, he'd want like Walter Hamada out. He'd want some people out, or at least like apologies from them. So we'll see. I think that they're gonna make a real push, and if they don't, I think they're being really dumb. Mm-hmm. But like I said, I think they're going to be doing Justice League 2, and I think they're going to try and bring them back. So we'll see in the future.
Cool. All right.
So yeah, it is interview time, Ryan.
Okay.
We're going to do this like this from now on. This is my favorite part of the show.
It is fun.
Yeah. We are fortunate enough to talk with the managing director of Cinema Blend, as well as the author of the new book called Release the Snyder Cut. It is now available on, what was it? Bookshop?
Bookshop.org.
Bookshop.org. If you do not have an independent bookstore near you, he will not mind if you go get it at a Barnes & Noble or on Amazon. It is called Release the Snyder Cut. It is a great book about the background of what happened to get the Snyder Cut released next week. It is Sean O'Connell. And that was Sean O'Connell. We are really thankful for him to come on the show. We had a great time talking with him. Super badass dude, super knowledgeable about everything. Nerd. But everybody, thank you guys for listening to this episode. This is episode 85. We're
It
just
is.
chugging along. But everybody have a great rest of your weekend. Remember to tell 3 of your friends about the show. We've got the Instas at Furloughed Film Talks, Twitter at Furloughed Film. But be safe for y'all's weekend, and we will see y'all Monday.
Adios, amigos.